Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the hosts of Ron and Deb Unplugged. It's one of the most popular Christian faith-based broadcasts in America. Their incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, as the son of a minister, I love to put a spotlight on faith when I can, and this show is all about faith from a couple who is wild, crazy in love. They're also co-hosts of the Ron and Deb Unplugged show. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Good
I did not know you were PK.
Yeah.
How much therapy did it take you to go to after
I'm so proud, and my dad is still doing well, living in Waco with my mom, married for 70 years, and so
Congratulations!
Thank you.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, so Ron, let's start with you. I want people to know your heart. So, lifetime in radio. When did your radio career begin?
Gosh, I started when I was 14 years old, doing some stuff on a little bitty gospel radio station there in Oklahoma City. And when I put 2 records out over the air at the same time, they didn't have grace for me on that. And so it was kind of abruptly cut short. But then, I've done voice work, especially starting in college. I went to Howard Payne University in Brownwood, Texas. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's where I started writing copy and doing broadcast. And then I went on. I was the sponsor of the old Ronald Reagan 2-minute show that he did there for many years. Yeah, and I would come on afterwards with a little, motivating nugget from the scripture or something, and so did that, and then I thought I needed a job, but I said I don't have to have a real job. I can sell something. Back then, I thought I could sell something, So I thought I was a super salesman. So I put in I built a carpet business for a company that wanted to get in that business, and I did everything but lay the carpet. And so one of the things was they let me do the copy, and so and by the way, now let me just share this with you.
Sure.
I am the undefeated, unopposed Brown County Carpet Commissioner. Yeah. Because during a radio show, that's where I found out why people do these crazy commercials, because people believe them, And so I ran. I said, I'm your write-in candidate for Brown County Carpet Commissioner. It's elected, I promised. And do you know they told me down at the election board, there were people writing my name in.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, my God. That's incredible. All right. Well, let's show a picture from your radio career so people can get a visual of this. And how many different stations do you think you've worked with over your...
Oh, gosh. I've been with about 4 or 5. Yeah.
Nice.
Years,
Congratulations.
And...
All right, Deb, you have a resume that goes on for miles, but something that I saw in your resume that really jumped out at me, and we're going to show a little trailer in a second, but you've had a chance to work with The Chosen on several seasons.
I have on season 3, season 4, season 5 as an extra background, and it was the blessing of my lifetime.
She's my chosen.
Thank you. That's very sweet. And what I've done is I wrote a screenplay about my life, a hard faith biopic movie. And I thought, I'll get it copyrighted. I'll go out to film festivals. I'll get it made, and it'll be made. And then 3 years later, it wasn't made. And I was like, God, what happened to this? I know you told me to write it. And he said, I want you to go out on the film sets, and I want you to learn everything you can, because at this point you know nothing. And I said, and then we'll make your movie. Don't worry about it. I said, thank you, because it took the pressure off of me.
Yes.
And so he sends me to The Chosen. And on The Chosen, I played a pilgrim. I've played a traveler.
Wow.
I've played a flower seller. I have played a Roman citizen several times. I have played just a regular garden, run-of-the-mill Israelite woman. And it's been the blessing of my lifetime because when you step on the chosen set, it's a different kind of set.
Wow.
And it's taking the gospel around the world.
Let's show a little bit of the trailer from season 3. And I don't think you're in any of these clips, but just to give people a sense as to how big a production this is if they haven't watched this. What is it about the cast? What is it about working on this iconic series?
Well, my husband and I were able to see Jonathan Remy at another filming screening last weekend.
We had to hang out with Jesus.
Yes,
Wow.
and it was Saturday before Easter, so we got to see Jesus a day early.
Yeah.
But anyway, they have no egos, Jeff.
Really? I mean, do you feel God?
Down from the very president, Brad Pillow, down to Dallas Jenkins and his Adam Drake, down to everybody, Jonathan Remy, everybody on the cast and crew, there are no egos. We all feel so blessed just to be there, to have the opportunity, as Dallas Jenkins says, here we play. He doesn't say action. Nobody tenses up. He says, here we play. We are carrying the gospel around the world, and we are so thankful, including myself, he says, including myself, to be here to do this.
Wow. And do you feel God's spirit when you're out there?
I feel God's spirit when I'm out there. I was telling someone Saturday that when I set my foot on the set of The Chosen, I feel like I'm on holy ground. Wow. And I know not everybody on the set and everybody, the crew, are Christians. We have Jewish people. We have all different kinds of people. We love everyone on the set. But there are people, Jeff, on the set between takes of the filming that get saved.
Wow.
And they have a download from God that says, hey, your life needs to change. They accept that. And then by lunchtime, we're celebrating that they have Jesus in their
That's
heart.
amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah.
We mentioned your podcast, so without further ado, I'm going to show a clip from one of your recent podcasts.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and roll that.
Yeah. Welcome to another edition of Ron and Deb. We are so great to be here, so grateful to be here for the 2025 season. This is Ron and Deb Unplugged.
A show about something.
Yes, and we are so excited. We're starting the very first show off with the official North Texas love guru. I mean, everything you need to know about love, and this is a special Valentine's edition, as you can imagine. But before we get to our special guest, Deb, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Will you be my Valentine? I got a card just for
Ron,
you.
that's so sweet. Thank you. That's very sweet. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, are you open for a date next Friday night?
I don't know. I may have to wash my hair.
Well, hey, get yourself all dolled up.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so but seriously, we've got a guest who has been in the matchmaking business for many years now. She started as a girl in grade school on the playground, I believe. And so Deb, her name is Jennifer Stiers. Deb, tell us about our guest.
We're just so glad you're here with us today, Jennifer. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And we've heard so many great things about you that you're ranked in the top 10 matchmakers in the United States nationally, which is awesome. I love that. And we know that you have a Lovability app, a new app for your business that you have out there, and that you're the host of the Lovability show. How do you do it all?
I don't know.
I want to know, though,
I'm exhausted just hearing about it.
Now, before we throw too much behind you, though, I want to know, where do you fall in that rank of the top 10? Are you...
Number one.
Of course, number one.
Oh, that's okay.
That's okay. Number one always.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I've got a question for you. What do you feel like is the main obstacle for adult singles to really find true love and romance? What do you think is the main thing in it? Because after 40 and over, it's tough.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's actually tough for all the age groups for different reasons. But I'm going to say this because I think, especially for the 40 over, the biggest obstacle to finding love is that, and that's why I have a business, but people choose the wrong people.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Wow. I'm blown away. And Jennifer Stiers, shout out. She's a
Hey, Jen.
good friend.
Go to the Lovability app.
So as I'm reading your bios, I'm saying it was nominated for Best Faith-Based Podcast 2024.
Yes.
Oh my
What an
goodness.
honor.
I mean, yeah. What was that like?
We were very honored. We we were told that we were going to a Christian film festival called Content Media Festival at Capernaum Studios in Weatherford. It happens every September, and we were attending the film festival, but we were also put in our work to be judged, and they were so kind to give us a nomination. We felt so blessed by God. I didn't know what our advertising would be. And I said, God, what am I supposed to say to these people? We don't have an advertising. And he said, well, who have you interviewed? And I said, okay. So I listed out the people we interviewed, and I thought, wow, this is impressive.
Wow, that's really cool. Tell us about your chemistry, because it's so natural, like, giving her a Valentine's card on air. I mean, tell us about your rapport and why that makes this show so special.
Well, that's a great question. I've got a television show that I'm trying to sell, Survivors in the Game of Life. And so one of the things that attracted me to her, because we've only been together 23 months now. We've only been married 23 months, yeah. And so one of the things that first attracted me to her was the fact that she has a heart for ministry and has been in, and is in my business, I mean, because somebody at this age, when you're over 40, well over 40, finding somebody that doesn't weird out about you being in the entertainment biz is really difficult. And so anyway, we went ahead and, dated, got married. And so we didn't have a clue the on-air chemistry that would be there. We didn't have a clue. I mean, we didn't get married for that. But then after a couple of months, I said, well, gosh, rather than just sit around doing nothing, let's do something. Let's do a podcast, And so anyway,
first we had to find out what a podcast was, right? We had to find out what.
Don't tell all our secrets. So anyway, we just before that though, I know what happened. Before that, I've been doing this morning cup of motivation for a number of years now, and I hadn't told my 6,000, 7,000 followers that I was getting married. So after I got married, I just announced I got married, and everybody went bonkers, congratulations, everything. So after a couple of weeks, I thought, well, we ought to have her on, And so I had her on, and I mean, it's like instantly, Jeff.
Wow.
The chemistry sparks of on air started to fly, and we knew that, hey, we're good together in front of a camera.
It looks like you could probably complete each other's sentences.
Yes.
Huh, Deb?
Yeah.
God did it. Okay, we did not know. We were not aware. God did it. Thank you, God.
Well, tell us some of your favorite shows. What kind of subjects do you like to tackle?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, we are obviously in full support of the faith-based film community. We have supported films like Unsung Hero with King and Country.
That was a great
wonderful movie.
Mm-hmm.
We have supported The Chosen, of course. That would be my first choice. And then we also have interviewed people like for King and Country that the Unsung Hero movie was about. We've also supported Israel, especially since last year's attack. And we had 2 Israel defense soldiers on our show that had very good insight on what was happening there. Mm-hmm. And we also interviewed Brian Sanders, who has a wonderful documentary called Why Stand With Israel, which we all should stand with Israel. And it's just amazing. Ron comes up with the ideas, and the people is like Jennifer Stiers. Yes. We also interviewed a January 6th, what they used to call insurrectionists, but now they call hardened. And so basically, we interviewed her. She was in the Capitol for 2 minutes and 8 seconds. And then when she got home, she was arrested. The FBI raided her home. Wow. They took her identity. They took her job. They closed her bank account. They canceled her in culture. And she was incredibly overwhelmed by what happened to her. She wrote a book called Storming the Capitol. And she was recently on our show. And it's a wonderful thing what President Trump has done to pardon her. And so now she feels vindicated. Now she feels like wait a minute, I knew I didn't do anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's the magic of podcasting.
Yeah.
Well, I think she put you up that question, Jeff, because see, she was waiting to see if I would have said my favorite interview was the former Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and then yeah, she'd have backhanded me right here in front of the camera.
But Jeff, you've interviewed quite a few cheerleaders too. So I think we're in friendly fire here, and cowboys. I think we're in friendly fire here.
Well, something I like to do when I get a couple on the show is give them a chance to glorify each other. So let's start with you, Deb. What does Ron bring to not just your relationship, but the podcast?
Well, what I like is his experience. We already talked about that. He was on Caleb Radio for many years, and he had his own television show. He is a man of God. He knows the Word of God. He prays to God. God is running his life. He's also been humbled in life, which I don't tend to trust anybody until they have been humbled in life. And because we were so recently married, and, I just knew because I'd been praying for a spouse, and I said, God, there is no one. And he said, have you considered Ron Moore? And I'm like, for what? Because on my Facebook, I add people in the faith-based film industry. I add people like you that are doing wonderful work. And he said, just add him. And I'm like, okay. And so when I added him and I got to know him, he was literally the person I had been praying for.
And don't leave out the fact that you were done.
Right. I was done.
Or
I was.
passed away.
Right. In COVID. Yes. But, I watched his Morning Cup of Motivation, which is a 3-minute Monday, Wednesday, Friday little kind of a vignette. And I said, who's this ruggedly handsome guy here? Who's this guy that's, speaking godly words and the Bible right on the Bible. And he's like a Dr. Phil meets like Jeff Foxworthy kind of mix, which is entertaining, of course. And so anyway, he contacted me. I made some comments on one of his wonderful vignettes that he did on Morning Cup of Motivation, and he contacted me back, why aren't we friends? And after that, it looks like he had a little bit of game left, which I've heard he has had games. But anyway, I had a little bit of game too. Okay. But it was a wonderful thing that God did for me, and I think that God did it for him too. We, like he said, we were unaware that we would be ministry partners. Wow. But after we got married, a week after we got married, we went to a marriage retreat, typically because it was in our backyard and we had to go. And we dedicated our marriage to the Lord. And we said, whatever you want to do with this part of our lives, we are happy to do whatever it is you want. And this is what he has done.
That's beautiful. Okay, Ron, same question.
Well, I want to say that about that marriage retreat was a week to the date after we got married. And they asked, what was the question they asked about?
Who's been married the longest?
Right.
Or who's been married the shortest?
Right. So I, raised my hand, and she tried to put it down. I said, no. I said, we've probably been married the shortest. And so they had all the couples come up, and we won the grand prize there. But, I think, as I said, that's what so attracted me to Deb was in just reading her profile, I could tell that she had a heart for hurting people, and that she wanted to help people. And that's what really I've dedicated my life to is helping people, helping hurting people. And so I appreciate that so much about her. Then as I got to know her, to see that, she just really goes for the underdog. I guess why she went for me. And but then as I got to know her and saw her zest for life, and that she wants to, she's not just sitting back, saying, well, it's all behind me. And because, like I say, when you're over 40, you need to, you need to find somebody that's not in a retirement mode. Wow. Because so many times people start to get in this retirement mode, and they want somebody with money so they can, just kind of sit back and coast and slide on and into old age and I'm like Clint Eastwood. I'm not letting the old man in. I mean, in fact, Jeff, I've got to live to be 120. I'm so far behind on accomplishing all God has for me. So I got a long way to go here. So but I love that about her. And then gosh, when we come on there now, she's still. I've been doing this so long, that I don't get nervous these things, but she still gets a little bit nervous. But once she gets on, once the lights, camera, action, I mean, she just knows what to do and what to say, and so we have a big time on air, and by the time once the lights go on, well, she's calmed down, she's ready to go, and she drinks her Diet Coke.
Right. Coke Zero.
Well, Coke Zero. I'm sorry.
In the final minute or two, final thoughts. What do you want to leave the audience with? Do you want to start?
Yes, thank you. I would like to say that for people that are today's age, as Ron and I are, never think that you can't be used by God for his purposes, because he has elected you and given you grace to do things for him. And don't let age stop you. Don't let socioeconomic situations stop you. Don't let the naysayers stop you. Believe that you have a purpose and that God will accomplish his purposes through you.
Wow, that's a great way to end the broadcast. Ron, do you want to have a final thought?
Yeah, I would just say, and this is something that has to be in our gut of guts. And that is that as long as God gives you breath to breathe, there's somebody's life that you can touch with the love of God. Somebody out there needs to hear what you've been through and what you're going through. But as long as we're alive, we have a purpose, and we must live each day with that purpose, because that's why God has us still here.
Wow, beautiful. That's a mic drop moment. Thank you both for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we're going to end with a Facebook page, which is a way to get plugged into their Unplugged show. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having us. What an honor. Yes.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.